$10 to anyone who can fashion a device that can hold me. $10! That's a week's wages. A piano maker has tried and failed. Why, I even went to the sheriff and dared him to lock me in jail so I could escape. He wouldn't do it. I performed jail escapes completely without clothes, and he still declined, knowing that no jail can hold me. Oh my God. Let me thoroughly explain my apparatus. It is a specially made steamer trunk manufactured in Pittsburgh. It contains 3 impenetrable locks, reinforced steel bands, and inside are razor-sharp daggers that forbid me to move even 1 inch. Finally, my assistant will place this device over my face that will not allow me to breathe. I can hold my breath longer than anyone in the world, but I cannot hold it forever. Now, I do not foresee any accident happening, but we know in life accidents do happen. Babies arrive, bones are broken from a horse kick, worse, are started.
All right!
This is my most dangerous escape yet, and should anything go wrong while I am attempting to escape and it is impossible for me to breathe, let me assure you my assistant is trained in case of an emergency and will rush in with an axe to save my life. I pray that does not have to happen. Now, I encourage you to hold your breath with me as I enter this steamer, this trunk of death. But I ask you, is it a case or a casket?
Oh my God, I can't walk.
We want more!
Oh God, careful!
Woo-hoo!
Oh my God!
Okay. What's happening? Where'd he go?
How'd he do that?
I have escaped!
No way!
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Remember, time and space are just an illusion. Death can be cheated.
All right!
How did he do it? Oh, incredible! Thank you for your positive
You all seen
accolades.
this?
I put on an incredible show, don't I? Incredulous, awe-inspiring. I encourage any man in this audience who has a high opinion of himself to square off with our next act. She is the strongest woman alive. Presenting Miss Hortensia from the deepest of Bavaria.
Seriously?
She's not really a lady.
Go home!
Come on!
Go away!
She's like an ox.
Some fella gonna knock you sideways. It's all nonsense. Yeah, yeah. You got no talent.
I have traveled across this country, from New York to San Francisco to Blackwater. No man can defeat me. Many have tried, and all have failed. Is there any man in this audience who thinks he can take me on? I will make you the laughing stock of this town. Come up on this stage and fight me.
Come on, someone, advertise.
Come on. Get up here. Ah, my next victim. Take your best shot.
Your old man doesn't.
I'll go easy on you, lady. You ain't. At least hit.
Ma said that Pa was...
Tell me something I couldn't have guessed.
Howdy, fellers.
Evening, sir.
Come on back later. I'm sure I'll have more tickets soon.
latest shipments is long overdue. The investor.
Look who it is. Like seeing the ghost has been so long. So, what'll it be?
Can I get a room, please?
No, thank you.
That's too bad. I'm planning on having a lot of fun tonight.
Oh, my lucky day.
Is excavating a new parish for that Italian school recently alighted here.
So it goes.
Bien.
Like what you see? You'll change your mind. They always do.
How are you, my love? Would you like me to join you?
I got fine rooms for rent. If you're interested, clean sheets to make you feel like new.
Thanks for your assistance.
Hello. Tickets are available if you're interested.
I need a ticket, please.
Please, through those double doors.
Good evening! Good evening! Hello, yes, thank you. I am, as you well know, Aldridge T. Abington. My prosperous career as the greatest showman on Earth is well known from Russia to France, and especially London, where I receive very warm acknowledgement and once entertained the great Queen herself in a manner I cannot discuss further. Yes, you are about to witness the grandest of shows. Up next, a goddess of fire. Her dance will mesmerize you and drive a sharp bargain for your soul.
This is great.
Antoinette Sanservino.
Ain't she great?
Be careful with that fire now.
Yeah, baby. Well, all right. Come on, fire lady. Give us some more. That's it. Yeah, do it.
Burn the whole place down!
She sure is hot. Y'all see this?
Yes! Yeah, she's something, isn't she? You know, I once tried to woo her, but she managed easily to elude my efforts by setting my top coat aflame. Ow. Anyway,
On with
I
the
met
show.
this next remarkable lady on a steamer bound for Morocco, where they have the queerest and most delightful tobaccos one should ever partake in. She is unrivaled with a sword, and her dance will captivate you. The mysterious Maya. Isn't she lovely? The thighs of an angel. The charms of the devil.
Yeah!
This next act has delighted audiences around the world. He is the greatest magician alive, especially as many have died attempting feats of escape. Presenting Benjamin Lazarus.
Bring it!
Thank you, Madame and Monsieur. Thank you all. I am the great Benjamin Lazarus, cheater of death, revealer of truth, and without a doubt, the world's finest escape artist. Death, madness, it is all around us. A beautiful wife of 40. Years old suddenly dies of colic and pleurisy. A wealthy man goes mad and hacks his family to bits.
We want more!
Wow. The mind is weak, and yet it imprisons us all. Tonics and liquors keep the spirit buoyant as we all suffer all kinds of maladies in this life.
Try that
These
juice.
days, you are just as likely to die a man of 12 years old as you are a man of 42 or more. Now, you can easily ascertain by simple observation that those who live to an old age are not from the earthly classes. Midnight banquets of highly seasoned food and champagne are not invigorating influences. They are excesses that promote premature decay. A decay that begins first in here, in the mind. You may have heard that in the mental wards of asylums, they keep the most violent and insane patients in a straight jacket. A piece of clothing used to restrain them so they don't injure themselves or others. It was invented in France 110 years ago. And tonight, you may deem me as suffering from some lunacy, as I am going to undress. And my assistant will put me inside this straight jacket. Jesus. Yes! shall stand on this wooden stool and attempt to break free. However, I must be careful, as I will have
We about
this
to watch a fella
hangman's
hang
noose
himself?
around my neck while doing so. Surely, no man alive can escape such a prison. Well, no man apart from me. Now, this jacket is tightly sewn and composed of cloth that cannot be ripped by the wearer.
Oh my God!
Yeah, do it!
I am completely bound and unable to move. I must warn any women present who are prone to hysteria, fainting, or the vapors.
Hold on,
They
you
may not
whore.
want to watch me attempt this escape, as it could end in my certain death. And as we all know, watching a man hang is not the best entertainment.
This is something.
Music, please. Stay still. No one disturb me.
I love it. Let's see it. Well, all right. Y'all see this?
Somebody do
This show's nothing but
Take it to Blackwater!
I'm not a fake! I could have died! I could have died! I didn't need anyone's help!
You're welcome. Please, you're embarrassing yourself.
Go to hell with all of you! Doing no magic and then crapped in your bed! Get this over with!
And that wasn't magic. I know magic.
Oh, my! Incredible marksmanship. What a thrilling spectacle. And, part of tonight's entertainment. I would not deceive you. What an incredible night. I pray that you won't remember this evening for as long as you live. Or at least until tomorrow, when you might die of smallpox anyway. Good night, Saint Denis.
Give us some more. Okay, girl.
How do you do?
Hello, need a ticket?
Which show is it today?
We're playing Saviors and Savages, a trip around the world.
Ticket for one, please.
You'll find the show in either of the doors beside me.
Welcome, one and all. I'm going to take you on a journey around the world to parts unseen by most men. Why, I have traversed the great lands and oceans of the globe and bring you sights and scenes from places far away. Yes, a great deal of the world is populated by unwashed savages that don't have the decency to cover their reproductive organs. First, to jolly old England. You may wonder why, when you meet a British person, they have tiny red eyes, big ears, and long noses. We can now reveal the truth. Since the opening of the Underground Railroad system 30 years ago, the entire of London has moved beneath the earth. Just think of the joy children must feel being able to play unfettered by rain or refinery smoke. They are a dignified people, living among stalagmites in their dainty hats. And they have an underground king who worships an underground garden gnome. Have any of you been to New York City? It seems like the whole world is ending up on that tiny island. Now there's Lady Liberty, a marvelous statue. To welcome all the Irish people moving to our great country after all those potatoes. They are welcomed by tourists who toss potatoes out of the head of that lady. In New York City, they are making buildings so high for a picnic. Wouldn't that be grand? It's true. Now, we spoke of that unwashed statue. It was a gift from France. How do you think France paid for such a gift? Wanton prostitution? Selling horse meat? No, sir. I'm here to tell you that the streets of Paris, they have discovered black gold. That's right. And a few years ago, Gustave Eiffel of the Eiffel Oil Company built the tallest oil derrick in the world. Yes, all around Paris, you will find that thick business. It ignites like brandy, which is why so many French aristocrats drink it as an aperitif to aid digestion. The women of France are dainty and fair of skin, partially because they use that crude oil to bathe in, anointing and greasing their bodies, often before committing sinful pleasures of the flesh. Places that don't change their ways are falling behind. Visit the streets of Italy, and there is literally nobody left. The churches are empty. There's nobody drinking tiny coffees and slurping spaghetti in the streets. The Italians have never been known for good architecture, and their crooked buildings are falling over. Where have all the hairy women and men gone? Where are them Italians? It is one of the world's great mysteries. You may have heard talk of a horseless carriage being invented, powered by whale oil, vapors, or demons. Ironically, that is a myth. What is more exciting, the Germans have developed a mechanized horse that never needs to eat or sleep. It is a marvel of invention and is intended to facilitate the German army when it invades France or Russia in their campaign to spread the gastronomical wonders of low-quality beer, sausages, and sauerkraut. They love cabbage. But other than America, where we have plenty of room, it is so crowded in Europe that they are racing to set up a new country at the North Pole where they can dine on the delicacy of frozen fish, penguins, and polar bears. Imagine a place that never gets hot. You don't sweat while toiling in the field, and ice is much cheaper there. I predict that someday people of all nations will join hands at the North Pole, wearing furs and eating fish. My next adventure will be to visit Egypt, where I hear they live in giant triangles and talk in a Chinese-like language of birds and eyes and squiggly lines. And they worship cats, which is a bit worrisome and unsavory. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on these fantastic journeys.
Hope it was a good one. See you soon. Buenos dias.
All right, girl.
A friendly
Good morning,
face.
mister.
Hello. Hey, what's your pleasure?
Got any rooms?
Okay, room is all set. Just head upstairs when you're ready.
Everyone's a liar at this table. That's no lie.
Do you want to have some fun?
My God!
Yeah, okay.
Morning.
The longer you play, the more people aim.
I am in a good mood for some reason.
Well, that's good.
How's the crowd tonight? Hungry?
Bonjour, monsieur.
Hello, mister.
Excuse me.
Apologies.
Yes, of course.
Hey,
Excuse me?
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean nothing by it.
no more of your tonterías.
How you doing?
Hello.
I'm sorry. Come back at a later time.
Hello.
Come on, girl. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello, sir.
How do you do?
Please, be careful.
Move!
Oh, excuse me.
Hey, move!
For just that.
Let's go, girl.
Welcome.
What's playing?
We have the Ghostly Serenade playing today.
Bonjour. Can I buy a ticket, please?
The show will be behind in any of the doors beside the booth.
Greetings and salutations, gentlefolk. This here's the story about a young couple from the village of Annisburg that was courting a few years after the Revolutionary War. Courting in the woods, as you know young people are wont to do. Stealing away all sneaky-like. Girl by the name of Ethel Beauchard snuck out of the parlor one evening just as soon as her mother went out to hang clothes on the line from the washing. She met up on the road by her farm with a boy by the name of Eugene Hutton. Now, the Hutton boy was an athletic chap, liked boxing, fishing, and swinging Indian clubs. It's quite singular to the story that he didn't seem all that inclined to go to war in the preceding years leading up. Well, they walked in the woods for a while. Pretty soon they lost their bearings and no longer knew the north from the south, nor east from west neither. Then they heard a low, moaning sound.
"What's that terrible noise?"
she said all a-trim. "Must be a sick calf looking for its mama. Let me take a look," said Eugene. Well, old Eugene went and disappeared around a tree, came out the other side, and gave her a terrible fright. Boom! She let out a shriek, then went to chastising.
"You should be ashamed of yourself, Eugene Hutton," she said. "Instead of giving a girl protection, you go carry on acting foolish and fresh like the Queen's prize jester."
But right then and there, a chilly wind blew through and knocked off Eugene's hat.
"I need to get back home. My mama has a terrible temper. She's like to stomp up and down if she finds out we're missing."
She is a fair, stout woman. But just then, before this couple of miscreants could head home, they heard the sound of heavy wheels, groaning, and people marching. The cacophony grew closer and closer, and through the fog they could make out the shapes of ghost horses pulling spectral cannons, and dead soldiers marching as if their graves could no longer contain them, each wearing a vile red coat. "You will pay for your moral transgressions," the dead soldier howled, and cut his head clean off. Miss Beauchard shrieked in horror as Eugene's head landed right in her hands, his eyes still darting about, attempting to discern what horror had transpired. Little Miss Ethel Beauchard ran as fast as she could, stumbling and getting caught on trees as she tore through the forests, terrified for her life, the dead soldiers marching after, hungry for blood. When she returned home, she told the people of the village that an army of the dead had taken Eugene within the confines of the fog. British soldiers who died protecting tyranny were rising from their graves as if to continue the fight for the demonic English. The townspeople erupted in fright and dismay until one doubter came forth and accused her of witchcraft. "She raised the dead to murder that boy for his pursuit of unwanted advances," he said. "So she too must perish." And that very night, they put her to the stake and burned her dead. Now let that be a lesson to you young ones not to go courting in the woods, in case the English lurk there still.
Hope you had a nice time.
Girl?
Welcome. Here for a show?
I need a ticket, please.
The Theatre Royale awaits you behind those doors.
Welcome! And thank that thunderous applause. I am Aldridge T. Abington, the greatest assembler of entertainment since Nero himself. Do not doubt. As a child, when I walked the Saint-Denis, I never dreamed of the stir I would create as a proprietor of the greatest show ever assembled. Prepare for the grandest excitement of your curiosity. Fire, snakes, and magic. I encourage any of you to dabble in all three if you have a settled aversion to manual labor as I do. For entertainment is a gift that will see you through the winter any packed larder or root cellar full of canned goods. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a truly stunning musical performance to the stage, Miss Robin Koninsky.
How about that?
Thank you for joining us. Now let's talk a little bit about this place we all love called Saint-Denis. They come from Road Strawberry and Valentine, singing a song and drinking wine. Across Bayou Swamp and over the sea, we're heading down to Saint-Denis. If your wagon is broke, get to the blacksmith shop. Don't worry yourself with planting a crop. The girls are wearing a brand new gown. We're heading to the Saint-Denis town. Carpetbaggers, coal miners, and mountain folk, loosen them stirrups and let off that yoke. Pretty young things say, come with me in the parlors and brothels of Saint-Denis. The porter is drinking and the whistle just blew. The train's ahead to the land do. You won't sleep a wink, I can guarantee. Let's go drinking down in Saint-Denis.
I'll go anywhere with you.
There's dancing and singing and howling at the moon in the streets and alleys of each saloon. The rich and poor and the bourgeois